Hello everybody and welcome to Stone and Void. I'm your host Jay Phillips, joined as always by Don Bowie.
Hey.
Patrick Collins.
That's me.
This week we're going over the tournament that's happening on this Saturday, the 30th. Talking about a little bit of the decks that we're hoping to be running and seeing why we're there. It's Tuesday that the podcast comes out, so we're actually filming this a couple days early, so we still have about a week to actually test, but it's been really hard to find something that's not just going mirror match versus mirror match. Turn 2 Gwyber decks, basically all that we've really been able to go after recently.
And their aggro deck.
Yeah.
Red, blue, Gerda. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to find anything else that doesn't just kind of have a terrible game one. I would love to try Dark Alice. I know that's something you've been trying to do a lot of.
I've been trying to do because, a lot of people bag on Soul Hunt, but like going second and that being your first play is just great because they are left with 3 cards in their hand and you still have 4 cards in your hand after that play. Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think I could try to find something to just kind of continue down that road of just continually removing their field. I think I can get something there, but
yeah. Have you tried anything with the Dark Alice deck?
I have not, but I really want to try Scorn of Dark Alice with the
Cthulhu build.
With the Cthulhu build. Bring back the Mozart, Haster, and Nyarlathotubs.
Yeah, a lot of that seems really good, and I feel like it's almost there, a lot of them. Anything other than just throwing down Gwybers would sound a lot more fun for me going into this tournament, but it's almost like you gotta just kind of go with what's current right now. It is the last day before the errata, so we talked a lot about the errata last week, which is now you can only use refrain on your turn, refrain on your turn, but when you flip on reflect you can do it as always. And that being the day after the tournament makes me kind of bummed because there's a lot of decks that I know would be viable right up to that one. It's just a little bit of a tease.
Luckily enough, there will be another California tournament though after the errata.
Yes, allegedly we did see one that says it says
pending,
coming soon, but it hasn't given us any information on when it is, which is really annoying because I really want to get plans.
I wouldn't be surprised if you went to the Hawaii one. There'll probably only be 6 people there, and you'll go there and you'll get a gold Alice. There you go.
Live the dreams.
What if one person gets first in both places? Would that just be one ticket just go?
Yeah, someone just takes away a ticket.
Well, no, because I think that would be the same way in the Magic tournaments. If you win a Grand Prix for Magic, you don't get to soak up multiple tickets type of thing. You're just basically not allowed to. I don't think they would let you re-enter into another tournament if you've already taken first.
So you just take a break.
Yeah, and once you don't get to come to this tournament type of thing possibly.
I see.
Now whether or not they actually have that set up, I have no idea, but I imagine they've done a little bit of pre-planning for how they want the tournaments to actually go. Because that'd be really lame, just sucking up multiple tickets.
I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, you got to be a really good player to even get that far. I mean, a lot of this is pretty much luck-based anyways. I mean, you want to be going first with this red-blue reflect refrain or turn 1 Gwyber. You want to be going first. I really doubt anyone really has that, probability of getting first in 2 tournaments, especially they're gonna have to be traveling.
Yeah,
so
doing
much.
A full-on circuit for everything. Playing the odds is definitely the best way to go. Try and go to as many tournaments as possible. But I mean, if you take in first place, there's not really much else to do.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to take away a ticket from somebody if that's just actually an option. But
I would.
You brought up an interesting point though, because most of the games I've played is usually the person who goes first wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the person who can win on the draw that wins the game.
So yeah.
That's the reason why I'm really looking forward to the errata, is I do feel like it's a who goes first type of thing, and I don't want it to feel like I'm gambling when I show up to the tournament. I want to make sure that I have as best game 1 plan as I can, but outside of another refrain deck, I'm not really finding any rulers that are able to really compete at that level.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I really like Dark Alice. I think she has a chance, but I'm not really hitting the key points right now, obviously.
No, it's really hard. But hopefully after the errata and also after the new cards that we get to see in Moonlit Savior, we'll actually get to see new decks come in, especially the new decks that we saw, the spoilers this week for the Moon Mana. Kaguya seems to be back, and she's pretty good. The card that we have already seen the art for, we saw the spoiled. It was the first thing that we saw spoiled almost a month ago now.
Oh yeah.
Was the child version of her. She's carrying the giant bendy bamboo stick where it looks like it's just kind of like wrapping around half of her body. Her judgment is 1 white, 1 moon mana, and 1 colorless. Her name is Friend from the Another World, Kaguya. And she is white and green as her actual attribute down below. And even though it's not in her judgment, she does have the ability, you can spend all of the moon mana as green will. And whenever you cast a moon, or when a moon enters your field, you actually get to draw a card as well. So her front side gives you a little bit of up-tempo and allows you to color fix pretty well, assuming that there's a way to really manipulate the moon mana. Something like the older
Moonshades and
Moonshade, things
forgot
like that.
what the other one's called, but I'm excited for Kaguya. Like I was very surprised at how cool this card was, especially since Jordan hasn't been talking about the white ruler, and this is technically the white ruler. This takes up the white slot.
As far as we know, this is the white one.
Yeah, this is the white one. And the fact that Moon Man is coming back, that's exciting. And she just does a lot of stuff, making moons, playable again. I think they were playable for a little while back in the day.
They were, but with the fake red, I believe was where they were mainly seen. But luckily, she also has a backside, so she's not a Grim, so she actually has a something else that she can do. On her backside, she actually does still do the transform moon mana into green will. She also has stats of 700 and 900, and when you use awaken, you get to put 2 plus 100 plus 100 counters on her, so she just gets bigger every time you awaken anything. There was a lot of those cards back in the old Grim set that we actually don't use too much anymore, but I'd love to see start coming back. As well as a ability where you can pay 1 moon and cancel target automatic ability, which has been causing a lot of problem with people not knowing exactly what that covers, but it's good, trust me. And 1 white, 1 colorless, prevent the next damage that be dealt to this card, so she can protect herself, which is always really good. So she's going to be nightmare to kill, and she does have a God's Art, which is 1 white, 1 moon, and 3 colorless. Rest all J/resonators you control, and or your opponent's control. Sorry about that. I'm trying to read this thing here. And then recover all of your magic stones that you basically just tapped out to cast this ability, plus anything else that you did on top of that. It also allows you to pay awakening costs for 1 moon mana less. And of course, as all God Arts, you can only do this once per game. But man, this one is a very strong one that I actually could see just ending a game.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
You have like a bunch of little guy armies. You tap all of them down, and then you play that buff 600/600 spell on your turn after you tap all your stones, and you hit for game, right?
Sprint.
Yeah, sprint.
Sprint to the Beast Lady.
Yeah, I think sprint has a good home in this deck.
Yeah, no, it's really, really strong.
Can we cover the non-activated abilities? Or what's it called?
Oh, the automatic?
The automatic abilities?
Yes.
So does that count as the non-activated abilities? Everything that doesn't have a semicolon?
Yeah, so if you don't have to tap for it, like, so tapping is a activated ability. Paying will is an activated ability, but
how does that work for enter abilities? Does that count?
I know that's in Magic a triggered ability because when it enters the battlefield it triggers. This is
an
actually
automatic ability more like Arthur's -2 buff?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a blanket effect like that would be able to go away, but if you counter that, it wouldn't just come back.
It will come back next turn.
Wow.
Right?
I thought that I had a good grasp on this card for a second, and I am completely wrong.
I feel like that's not an activated.
It's not very.
Non-active.
Yeah, this isn't a very intuitive card. I know that it's definitely hitting things that are. So things that are activated, things that Glimpse of Kaguya would hit. So it's anything that's not those.
I mean,
It's the best way that I can figure this out.
so Glimpse of Kaguya, the enter abilities,
Yeah, Glimpse hits a lot of things.
Glimpse hits a lot of things. It hits activated abilities too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is hitting everything.
So
but
would an
those.
automatic ability be like? Could it be
I
Lancelot's
think
700 damage?
Okay, so this is what I think it is. I'm guessing that it's triggered abilities is what automatic abilities is talking about. So if something else triggers it, as opposed to you activating it,
Yeah.
Okay.
it was what I'm assuming. And please correct us in the comments down below because we will definitely answer you guys and talk about it. That's probably to my best guess. I know I was looking it up earlier. I kind of already forgot, and that's to the best of my deductive abilities. Is I'm pretty sure it's got to be things that you yourself are not paying the ability for.
Something that says like when this happens,
Yes.
this X happens.
Yes. So it's just another way in which they are uniquely different from other card games by saying the rules slightly different and confusing everybody in the process. However, I know it's going to be good. It's going to be able to hit a few things. I don't think it hits continuous abilities. So the
Okay.
things like the negative.
So Arthur wouldn't.
Arthur it wouldn't hit, and other things like that, which could be. That's good that it doesn't
So
hit.
it
because
would.
that'd be really
So
good.
it would hit Lancelot's like 700 damage. spell?
Yes, because that's a triggered ability.
Okay.
That's what I'm believing it's going to be doing, is anything that's triggered like that.
Okay.
But the paying the cost to give it plus 100 plus 100 would not.
Yes.
That's an activated ability for sure. I know that much. So that's probably the difference between the two of them. Yeah. No matter which way, Kaguya's just good on her own. She's a solid card that I'm really excited to hopefully build something around during the new season. I think she has a potential of being against a refrain deck after errata. But
I personally don't think so, but that's just me.
Kaguya?
Yeah.
I don't know. Only if the moon mana creatures are good and we have. Like,
Yeah, it
good-
depends on the other spoilers, as we say every time. But as of right now, just
Well,
her ruler.
I honestly don't think that it's going to take just the moon rulers. I think she's going to be good with a lot of other things, just as a good way of. It's almost impossible to kill her. She's able to protect herself really, really well. And
Okay.
I think that could help a lot.
That makes sense because Reflect Refrain has a tough time dealing with other J-activated rulers, right?
Yes.
So once she flips and keeps on protecting herself, because she's out of Flames of Outer World range.
Yes, and that's very
That's
important
very
if you're
important.
going to have a ruler that you're going to try and win the
Okay,
game with.
you're convincing me
So-
little by little here.
I think it's going to be just a good ruler that can smack in for good damage and take somebody out. And especially with the card that we're going to talk about next. If you've seen all the spoilers, this isn't going to be too much of a surprise for you. But the interdimensional vessel Apollo, which is her regalia, for 0 cost, you're going to get your J ruler gains flying.
Introducing spaceships, the force of will.
Yeah, this right here makes Kaguya basically become a dragon and gets to go up in the air and fly in and knock somebody out. It also gets to tap, produce 1 moon mana, spend this only to pay Awakening or Judgments or God Arts of J rulers with the name Kaguya. That doesn't mean that the God's Art can only be Kaguya, but when you go for Judgment or Awakening, you can just spend this mana for that. So this is a great card for possibly even bringing back not Little Red, the one with apples.
Little Red.
No.
Snow White?
Thank you. Yes,
Snow
this
White.
could bring back Snow White.
And the grannies?
Maybe not.
But their awakening costs red will, though. Not colorless.
I believe so.
No, I'm talking about the ruler.
Okay.
Snow White ruler. The reason why I'm saying this is it gives her flying, which is something that she lacked. She was the biggest ruler that we have. She's a 13/13, and she doesn't have flying, so she got blocked by everything in the world. Giving her flying could bring her back. Also, if you don't have an apple, she was impossible to Judgment because she was 1 white, 1 red, and 2 colorless. This pays for part of the colorless, so you can activate her a turn earlier. You can spend the moon.
They need to. It has to have Kaguya in the name, though.
Only for the Judgment or the God Art. So, or God Art abilities with Kaguya in the name. So Judgments and Awakening are both things that you can pay with the moon mana and it not be Kaguya.
Okay.
So this card is going to help you Judgment any ruler that has colorless mana as the payment earlier.
Yeah.
Which will make a lot of things viable that wasn't or was not before.
Okay.
and I could see Snow White coming back, making a huge splash, and just destroying people for 15 damage on the first turn just by activating a single other regalia.
So the way it's worded, it's only talking about the God's Art. It's not talking
Only
about
God's
the
Art.
judgment
Yep.
either.
Only god art of people named Kaguya. So that only affects her herself from the new set. It doesn't affect anything else. And yeah, I think this is a great card for many other reasons. It also, last but not least, also has tap, banish this card, return target resonator to its opponent's hand, or to its owner's hand, not to its opponent's hand. That'd be
It's yeah.
yeah.
No control, yeah.
It's really, even that's good on it. It allows you to win this.
Protect
Protect your creatures.
It makes it to where Hera doesn't draw a card, which is super important. If for any other reason, the fact that it can sacrifice itself basically to get rid of itself so your opponent doesn't draw a card when they play Hera is amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's really good in an Awakening deck too. If you want to keep on abusing Awakening abilities over and over again, you just bounce that one Awakening guy back to your hand. It's like, oh, I'm gonna play my little dread and steal your thing again or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's got a ton of versatility. I expect we're going to see it in a lot of different decks. Also, even in a Refrain deck itself, people who want to play barriers against you, this allows you to... Oh, wait, no, because you'd have to pay the cost for barrier as well. Don't listen to me, I'm crazy. I was going way too deep on something I didn't need to. Heather's Way, not to bog you guys down with too many spoilers this week, but we are going to try to actually quickly run through everything else that came out this week. One card in particular that I'm a super big fan of is Kaguya's Premonition, which is 1 white, target resonator gains plus 200, plus 400 until end of turn, and has an awakening of 1 moon mana. Prevent the next damage that would be dealt to a resonator this turn. For each 100 damage prevented this way, you may put a 100/100 counter on this card. It is a chant instant, so you can do this when they attack into your creature and you block, or when you're insulting in. If you have 2 will open, you can just basically eat any creature that's in your way. You're always going to be bigger, you're always going to win combat, and it's basically the best possible combat trick you can do in Force of Will right now. Essentially, if you block a 15/15, or you attack in and they block with their bigger creature, doesn't matter what it is, you get to be that big, plus your starting size already, plus an additional 200, 400, you're just massive. This could completely end a game, comboing with any card that does damage to your opponent. When this card does damage to a resonator, it would just allow you to spike that damage up over to your opponent. So blocking becomes very dangerous with this card. I'm explaining this really well because right now I have Patrick over here to my left who says this card is crap.
I don't think it's crap, but I don't think it's
basically
good.
a kill spell if you like block with a small creature, because it just like
Yeah,
trades attacks and then blocks and kills it.
you always get to trade up. And even when you're not trading up necessarily, you can just do the 1 mana payment, which is plus 200, plus 400, which is, I think, still good enough on an early enough turn when you don't have 2 will open to pay both the main cost and the will cost. So you were talking a little bit of about this card.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool combat trick. Just 2 mana is kind of a little weird, and then the fact that I think white is probably the weakest color in this set right now.
I will give you that white has been consistently one of the weaker colors. However, I will gladly bet, and I mean smoothie bet you, that this card actually gets to see some play.
How many cards?
I could see... Honestly, I would probably end up playing just a 1 of the card. But how many copies do you want to say that it has to see play?
It has to see 3.
Has to see 3 of them?
It's a
3 in the
drop.
sideboard?
No, main board.
Main board,
3 in
3
the
of
main
them.
board.
Okay. So, for people who don't know, during the actual set reviews, which we have as a playlist on our channel, if you guys ever want to watch what we think of the cards from the last set, we have that for you guys to view. We do a thing that's called a smoothie challenge, where we take random ingredients and wager them in a smoothie for cards that we think are good or are going to see play and in a future tournament. And basically, if we're wrong, we get to eat a random horrible concoction made by somebody else. and if we're right, we get to feed that to somebody else. So it's just a weird way for us to punish each other for saying the card's good or not. This card I am actually very much thinking is better than, I don't know, a lot of people are going to say it is. I might be terribly wrong, but I'm going to try and make this card work. So I will give you 3 main decked by the
End of the major tournament, right?
the end of the major tournament. So that gives
Gives it like 3 or 4 months.
Is that all I get? 3
Yeah.
4 months? Man.
Is that
That's
the
still a
World
lot of
Championship?
tournaments, though. There's still a lot of.
Is that the World Championship?
Yeah, the World Championship is the deadline.
And I get any big tournament before then as well, right?
Yeah,
So
course.
if we see this top 8 anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
you get another ingredient.
Sounds good.
All right. Hey, I'm going to win the other 2. Go back and watch the other ones. I have these guys on somewhat 2 bets that they're going to lose terrible with. And this one,
Leviathan is one of them.
I will totally eat. Yes, you are getting something terrible for Leviathan. Don, anything that you want to say about that card?
I think it's a great card. I
Yeah?
agree with you. It might be kind of hard because you have to play it in the Kaguya deck and spend that moon mana to do like the full effect.
I say you should bet him on it as well. Join my side.
Do it.
Go down with me.
I'm gonna say that there's not 3 in the main board.
Do you want to bet
Fine.
against him?
Yeah, I'm setting with Patrick.
Okay, I'm not taking an extra ingredient though.
Yeah, you do.
Fine,
We
I'm only
both
betting
get
you.
ingredients if we lose, though. That's how it works.
I should only have to get 1.
No, you get 2 if he's in on the bet.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
All right. This is all for you guys because we're going to film these when they happen, and I'm going to be really sad about this one. Either which way, next up is Shining Strike. 1 white, and it is a chant instant, and apparently they gave Kaguya Zero's staff, is I believe what that is. And she is using it to, basically, you can choose 1, rest target resonator, and then period, draw a card, or rest target J/resonator, period, draw a card, choose the second only if your J/ruler is Kaguya in its name. I know that we had cards like this in the past where it was like a split ability where you could choose one or the other, and a second one only if the ruler matched the card that it was for. But it was written a lot better than this one because I read this one like 5 times and still couldn't figure out
All right.
what the second ability because of the period. I'm like, do I get to choose to draw a card?
You do. The only thing that it changes from the first one is it targets a J resonator
Yeah,
too.
J. Targets a J ruler. The
Okay.
second one targets a J ruler.
But then it has draw a card.
It will.
You
also
draw a card either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You draw a card either way.
Okay, that period really just like makes me like look at it really,
Yeah,
really
the
weird.
semicolon separates it.
I like the way that they did it last time. If they did it differently, I feel like they did. It is a chant instant, and this card is confusing, so I don't like it. No, what do you guys think about it,
That's
though?
kind of cool. You could
I mean,
tap
it's just-
refrain, right? Yeah, you could tap refrain with that, and it would have to counter it for 1.
I
Which-
guess.
It's a little fun.
Or just
Yeah.
use
It's
their
cute.
abilities. I don't know.
It's definitely, I'll give you cute, yeah. It's
It
the
is
fact that it
cute.
draws you a card for 1 is good, but
It does cycle. That's
Yeah.
pretty efficient.
this game is very low on cards that draw and replace themselves. And for a card in white to do it is really interesting. They seem to really be changing up the color pie in this set a little bit with different abilities that we wouldn't necessarily see. However, since they are bringing back were-rabbits and they're in white this time, this card isn't too out of the ordinary for what we expect those cards to be doing. This one is Night of the Solstice, and it's 1 white, 2 colorless. It's a 700/700, and it is a were-rabbit. So finally they're back. And when this card enters the field, search your main deck for a moon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your main deck. So it looks like we will definitely be getting moons again at some point. However, as far as we know, there wasn't any that were spoiled this week.
Nope.
We might be getting some on the day that you're watching this right now, since we do edit this on Tuesday. But for right now, it's just this card, which I can't remember any of the old moons that we really want to see being played right
There's
now.
the blue moon that bounces something for 3 mana when you sack it, and then there's the red moon that you sack, you destroy a special stone or any stone. Forgot.
I remember the one that says if you stones that can do anything other than produce will do not untap. I remember that one.
That's a moon?
That's a moon.
Okay.
And then I remember. I don't remember my moons.
I don't either.
They weren't that strong.
No, it wasn't
They were
anything
kinda-
that we ever played with back in the day. I know a lot of people have been ragging on Were-Rabbits coming back and the moon mana symbol in general because they felt it was very gimmicky and was never on par with what you could do with the normal decks out at the time. However, I feel like that's a little bit different in this set, and especially since we get a new card with this set, which is Moonbreeze Elf, which is 1 green, and it is basically it's the same elf that we used to have. It's a 100 attack, 400 defense, and it produces a will. However, this time it's a Moon Will, and this card cannot be attacked, which is
That's
an
an amazing
really
really
nice.
amazing ability. Yeah.
That is so amazing.
This card is a card that whether or not Moon Will is good or not, this card is going into my cube. For those of you in the that don't know what a cube is, I started out with Magic. It's a format in which you draft, usually 380 cards, I believe, in packs of 15 with 3 packs, and you draft like you would Magic packs. We do this for Force of Will here in our store. We end up doing this. Yeah, it's a ton of fun. Me and Patrick were doing it last week.
I was working.
You
I was
didn't
very
get to play.
sad.
We all had a huge blast doing this, and essentially this card is going directly into the cube as another mana elf, and this one doesn't die the moment that you're
Like
past-
green needs any more ramp in the cube.
Yeah, it really doesn't. But the only way that people were able to remove my elves the other day, because I got lucky enough to draft the elves, that they were attacking into my little small guys, and I couldn't block or do anything about it when the target attack or anything of the such.
Yeah.
And this card solves that problem.
Yeah.
So you've got to
The
bolt
card's
it.
amazing.
and
Elf,
Yeah,
and it's it's got a 400 butt, which is good.
Yeah.
yeah. It works really well in tandem with the next card that we have as well, which is Wolf in the Moonlight, which is 1 green will, 1 colorless will, and it is a beast. It's a 500/500. On its own, it's not very impressive, and for its boost, which is as long as this card has an evolution counter on it, it gains +300/+300 in target attack. And if we remember from the old set, there was a mechanic that, or last set, not old set, the last set that came out, there was a new mechanic called Evolution, and Evolution was really slow and clinky. And you're all wondering why I'm saying this. It's because in this card, there's not an evolution ability. This is just straight up Awaken,
Yeah.
and it's for 1 moon. And when this card enters the field, you may put a evolution counter on this card, which is way better than the actual evolution that existed
Old
in the old set.
evolution.
Of course, you can't do this on your own leisure. You have to do it the same turn it enters the battlefield. But luckily, if you're playing the elf that we just talked about,
Yeah.
on turn 1, on turn 2, this is an 800
Target
target
attack,
attack.
which is amazing on turn 2.
Yes, which is there's not much better that you can do.
It probably isn't going to see any constructed play or like any like mainstream constructed play. It could probably fit its way into like a very fun deck because it's a beast.
Oh yeah,
So
I
it's-
mean
it's got a lot of
Task would be
synergy
doing
things
some
like the
stuff,
elf.
With the other beast cards.
But just
yeah.
an 800 on turn 2 with target attack, and the fact that elf can't even get attacked, like you're safe at that tapping that elf. You know,
Yeah.
you can't do that.
They,
It's a really
they've
nice
had to
combo.
bolt it.
Yeah, it's
to
really
get rid of
cool.
it, yeah.
Like
So,
this is an amazing common. Like this is a good common, just like the yellow card we were talking about before.
in limited, this is going to see a lot. Oh, that yellow card's seeing play.
Maybe.
I will make it. This card, I think, will see a decent amount of play in limited,
It's
and
gonna see
it
a lot
might
of
get a home in my cube, which would be.
I think
awesome.
it's cube worthy.
Yeah, beasts
It's pretty
were
fat.
pretty strong.
Depends on how well you support moon mana. Like it all depends on how
That
well
is
the
true.
moon mana is executed.
But this next card will help you with that.
Well, yes. Moon mana is a problem, and it's really hard to produce. And Kaguya allowing you to use moon mana to become Green Will is great and all, but where are you getting this moon mana from? Well, Moonbreeze Memoria, I can really talk today, taps and produces 1 moon mana or 1 white. So dual stones are not really back, but this is a cool
Pseudo.
alternative to them. With Kaguya, you now get basically 3 colors in 1 stone, which is even better. And if moon mana exists in more cards than just the Kaguya cards in this set, this is actually a dual stone. And I could see this being how you make moon mana playable. Also, with the cards that we just went over, I feel like a lot of these are really pretty relevant.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. Like, you could think about having, it's almost kind of like if you're playing with Kaguya anyways, it's almost like you're playing with 3 of those. I think it's Gusting Skies, the green-white dual stones with this one. And then this one also gives you that moon mana. I think that's pretty exciting. You know, Kaguya is a really fascinating ruler, and she's going to be a lot of fun to play with. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly like the moon mana. The white and moon mana.
I'll still have to see, like, some of the rares and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the
Super
first week of
rares.
spoilers. We have a lot more to go. On Tuesday, when this one comes out, you guys are going to see a lot more. Of course, Friday as well, we get another batch of spoilers. And we'll be back to talk to you guys more about these every Tuesday to really let you guys know what we think about them. The last thing that I really want to go over before we head out tonight is the pack art that we got to see, which is is what looks like the Dark Ruler on the front of the pack.
Is he dark?
As far as I can tell, the other
speculation
one,
is this one's dark.
he's the dark and the other one's red.
He's our sweet snow prince.
Yeah, the one with the horns is probably the red one, but yeah, I mean,
He looks more like the Red Ruler, and this one, although it does have that red feel in it, I think it's the more
darknessy.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can feel
So
it.
I can see
He looks
that.
pretty evil.
I can feel it.
Yes,
the dark
horns.
side. No, so there is a few other things that we also got besides that. We also got the new mat for when you buy 3 boxes. You get a Kaguya mat, which is really awesome. I'm super excited to have her. And then the buy box promo, which is Mucha Dart, which is a 6 Sage from the MOA set. If you don't know what she is, it was the whole mechanic where you put
Counters?
the counters on
Sage
her.
counters?
You get to remove the counters to do an ability. In her case, it's draw a card or tap down a resonator.
The cool thing about her is she gets 2 counters whenever
Yes, she
she
does.
comes into play and whenever another guy comes into play.
And you remove a counter to rest a creature?
Yes, and
Or
2
remove
to draw a
to
card.
Yeah.
Mhm. And she was
Really
4
good.
mana, 2 blue, 2 colorless. She's a 700, 900. She can be a finisher in the 6 Sages deck. We actually get to see a little bit of play with her currently in the 6 Sage Refrain deck, which might be a good choice to play with. That tournament stuff. We'll give you guys a full breakdown of that tournament when we're back from it. Hopefully, we might actually do the podcast while we're down there. So that's going to be interesting to see if we can actually pull that off. They also had a new special thing, which is if you buy 3 boxes, you also get this really cool messenger carrying bag, which is going to be really awesome to carry
Bag.
your boxes home with. You're making fun of my accent.
No, I was just saying bag.
Sure.
Bag
You
of
say
bones.
bag.
Bag.
I don't say bag. I say bag.
I think I say. I'm shutting up. So the other things that were spoiled were the box toppers, which I'm super glad to have coming back because those box toppers are everywhere in my store because they're just everybody bought a million boxes and we taped them to random things because why not? We had a lot of fun with them. It has Kaguya, which looks to be the white ruler. It has this guy with a book that looks to be the red
the red
ruler.
dude, horny dude, horn dude.
Avon, maybe?
Yeah.
Look
Ooh,
at
that
Avon.
would be cool.
That'd be sweet.
Avon, that'd be sick.
The blue ruler, which looks to be a
The
magical
songstress.
song,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to skip down one real quick and go down to the pack art ruler, which looks to be the
dude.
black art, and then the one above it, which we actually have confirmation is actually a J ruler, and it's the tree of Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil.
So when
So
we get
it's
to see
green?
that in
Most
my
likely.
my guess is it's green.
So it's not Maribel, everybody.
The
Sorry
pack art
about
looks
that.
pretty dark. I wanna.
Yeah, no,
I guess
I'd
it's
have
in
to
the
say
moon.
that this is-
That's
It's
the
it's
moon.
Jaggershill. Yeah. So it's
I was
not.
talking about the pack art one.
Oh, the pack
Yeah.
art one.
But the tree of Yggdrasil, whatever mechanics you have in store for us, I am super excited to find out. And hopefully we'll get to see that and more with the spoilers coming up next week. Thank you thank you all for watching. I'm as always your host Jay Phillips,
I'm Don Boone.
I'm Patrick.
and one of these days, Alice, straight to the moon. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.